Hi there, this is Vespasian, and today I'm going to be showing you my Roman army as it stands today. This has been a request. I did one about the Roman army I had originally, and I've changed the basing. The original basings were on on sand, and now they're on grass. And I've added quite a few bits and bobs to the army, so I'm showing you the entire army as you have it. I haven't used the entire army in one go at the same time with all the ships and everything, because it would be silly. It's not easy carrying ships across land, is it?
Mm-hmm.
No. So we will start on the ships, I think. This seems the easiest way. The Roman bireme.
Just adjust the camera here.
This is a Roman bireme. That's the standard ship of the Roman fleet, the Mediterranean fleet and the Northern fleet. The North Sea Fleet, or German Sea Fleet, whatever you want to call it. It's a standard Roman ship design. It originally had two ballistas on it, although I took the ballistas off and put them in the Dacian army, so I'm going to make some more ballistas for it later on. So that's that ship. It carries 2 units, although there's only room to fit 1 unit on deck so far. And that's the ship. All scratch built. I'll just show you a profile. It's built from scratch out of card and wood and all sorts of bits and bobs, and stuck some shields on the side. So now I'll move it out of the way so you can see the rest of the army. The ships at the back, I think. These ones here are riverine boats. They're the type of ship used by the Roman fleet, Roman troops on land, for riverine warfare. I designed these ones because I wanted to use for the Dacians to have some ships to use, and these are the best sort of ships that the Dacians had access to. So these are quite simple. The sails placed on the top instead of been up, and you can see the rowers places for the oars and everything. These ships here is pretty much the standard version of Roman cargo vessel, and they were used to ferry horses and troops, and they were also used to ferry anything to sell, really. The Black Sea is full of them. At the bottom of the Black Sea is full of them. They still need a bit of work on them. I've got to put some balustrades on and stuff. I haven't got around to doing that yet because I ran out of balsa, so I'm going to have to wait for that. So we will move on to the siege engines.
Which one?
The one on that side seems best, doesn't it?
Oh, can I just adjust the camera again?
Yeah. It's a pretty standard sort of siege engine, if I bring it closer for you.
Oh, now I need to adjust the camera again.
Yeah. That's the siege engine. I've got 2 of them. Look, 2. See? They're quite fun. There is a little swing door which opens and closes for the artillery put inside, and the front opens, and they're quite fun little models. They still need a little bit of work doing on them, but I will get around to that eventually. I've also got a Roman battering ram as well, which hasn't had much success so far.
Yes, honestly, it went straight for a wall.
Oh yeah, it did. Oh, I forgot about that. So now we move on to the actual Roman army itself. At the moment, I've only got 4 different types of legionary. I have troops from the 10th, which are here. This is the 10th for Census. They've got the white shield with the laurel around. They were Julius Caesar's legion in earlier years, and by the Jewish War, it was the legion tasked with keeping open the Silk Road to China. Just here we have the 5th Legion. That's the 5th Macedonica. They were stationed in Macedon and did most of their fighting in the east rather than the west. Moving along, we have the 15th Legion, which is one of my favourites because they've got black shields and they look really awesome and cool, unlike those really wimpy 14th Legion guys. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I want to talk about that.
No, we're going to talk about them. So that's 15th Legion in their nice shiny black shields. And at the back we have my newest Legion. I've only just got this Legion. It came out of the Conquest of Gaul box. And that Legion is the 7th. So the 7th Gallia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're the 4 Legions I have as a base. There's only 1 unit per Legion at the moment. I'm going to be getting some more Romans and adding to it, so I'll be increasing the size of these units and also making new ones as well. Built primarily around the Roman-Jewish War. That's the basic idea. Moving on, we will go to the Marines, who are these guys just here. The Marines are really, really nice. They've got hexagonal shields, if you can't see them. They've got hexagonal shields and wear standard Roman armour, these guys. There were 2 formed units of Roman Marines, but generally Marines were assigned to different ships or took different ships. So there was no actual direct command and control over the Marines. But they were formed into 2 separate legions during the Civil War. So, if you want to do that, you can do. Normally, I believe that warlord do Roman Marines with the round shield and they class them as spearmen. Although I've given these guys pilum because apparently they used pilum, so I gave them pilum. Also, they're in segmentator armour because Roman Marines were indistinguishable from regular Roman infantry. The reason they have the hexagonal shield is because they occasionally have to jump off and on ships and things and move around obstacles, and if you have to do that, having a big oblong shield will get in the way. Behind them we have the rather lovely auxiliary infantry. I only have 1 unit of auxiliary spear for this army so far, which I apologise for. I'm going to be getting more. And they do get used quite a lot nowadays, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These guys are Gauls, so I painted them up as Gauls, and they're basically there to support the Roman legions in the east. At the back we have a auxiliary bowman unit, which has seen quite a lot of combat, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a bad unit. Those figures are from, I think they're from Lancashire Games, those ones. Although I think the command might be from Irregular, I'm not sure. If we skip over here to the cavalry.
What's ordinary cavalry?
The ordinary cavalry. The ordinary cavalry at the back, I think we'll start with.
Right.
Right, those guys at the back, they are legionary cavalry. They're actually allied troops. That was fun. They're allied. Generally, Roman cavalry was allied troops, not actually Roman citizens, and they wore Roman uniform. They usually wore either mail or a version of segmentator, which was slightly more bendy. Generally, they didn't have much success. They were used for scouting and for holding flanks, and I've tried to use them the same way as the Romans did, and generally, I don't have any success with them, do I?
No.
No. The guys in front of them, however, they are Roman cataphracts. They're basically same as before, but these guys are mounted on a armoured horse. I've had slightly less use out of them either as well. I mean, they're not.
They got destroyed, wiped out in 1 round.
1 round of rolling ones
I got
to
scared.
save with. Yeah. This is not brilliant troops. Although they do get that -1 under fire. Doesn't help if your enemy's rolling 6s and 5s. So there we go. Right, artillery then.
Which one first?
Any you want.
The one in front of the cavalry.
Right. Here I have 3...
4.
bolt shooters. 3 of them, which is what I was about to say, are out of the Hail Caesar box set, the Legionary box set, and 1 of them is out of the Conquest of Gaul box set. So there they are. I have used them as a complete set on 1 occasion, and they did quite a lot of damage. They're quite useful. The great thing about light artillery in Hail Caesar is it can move and fire. Whereas your heavy artillery, you move it ready to fire, and then your enemy moves out of the way, and you keep having to move it. It can get quite confusing and complicated. Your heavy artillery is really best at shooting at long range against slow-moving units. Whereas these guys, they're brilliant. They can actually fire close up and do a lot of damage. Although they only get 2 dice to fire with. Whereas the normal artillery gets 3, so mass them up, get more firepower. Over to the next.
Ballista?
The Ballista, yeah. Right, these guys are Ballistae. From the Greek meaning to throw stuff. They fire a steel artillery ball, roughly the same as a modern day, as a Napoleonic cannonball, with about the same force and distance. So they were quite useful. The ballistas were very heavily used by the Romans, usually during sieges and stuff. They weren't generally carted around with them, although there was a light type of ballista that was used on the back of a cart during Trajan's war. The Scorpios were also put on the back of carts as well to make them more mobile. But generally they were used only in sieges, and I think these things are really cool, especially as they have a higher fire rate than a Napoleonic cannon. So that's quite good, isn't it?
Yep.
They're brilliant for shattering walls and smashing through enemy shield walls. And they get a -2 to the enemy's save roll, which when you're firing at Celts is hilarious because
Can't save.
The Celts can't save. You just keep hitting them and hitting
Unless
them.
unless you're at high range, and it's only like -1.
Yeah, which is a bit of a
Which
downside.
always happens.
Yeah, which can happen. Then we have behind them 2 onagers. Onagers were totally siege weapons. The Romans didn't deploy them anywhere where there wasn't a siege. They're designed to fire up and over the heads of the enemy to hit troops behind defences. That's primarily what they were for. They also used to drop large rocks on buildings and stuff inside a besieged fortress. That's basically what they're for. You may notice the artillery bits if you look closer. Can you see that?
Further down.
Further down.
There you go.
Is that in focus?
Yep.
The rock on the back is black. The reason the rock is black is because the Romans used to paint the large pieces of stone they used to fire black, so during the night the enemy couldn't see them coming. So there you go. Lastly is the trebuchet.
The biggest and most scariest thing the Romans had.
Yeah, trebuchet was pretty impressive. This is a Roman designed trebuchet, as opposed to the Greek designed trebuchet, which was more like an absolutely enormous crossbow. This one is designed to throw a 32-pound steel ball, or rock, or anything. They used to use steel when they were firing against, or iron, when they were firing against fortress walls, because it would go just shatter the stone brickwork and do a lot of damage. They could also fire like basically bags of barbarians, which would do much the same thing. Much the same thing to the infantry. Yeah, so they were pretty useful things. They could fire a huge distance, and they used to kick like a mule. Hence the Greeks gave up with this idea and went on to the huge crossbow type siege engine, like a crossbow pointed at the sky, because they tended to kick less. Yeah, but the Romans more or less sorted that out and even mounted these things on ships. They would tie two biremes together and stick one of these on the planks in the middle and fire it. Very impressive, very powerful, and the most powerful thing the Romans had. And I only have one for my army. I think I need about 5 or 6 more, don't I?
No, because then I won't be able to get anywhere.
No, that's true. Once again, it is only for siege work. So it only comes out to play when it's a siege battle. I don't use it in the open ground. Open battles, it's your light artillery and medium artillery that's used.
Supply wagon?
Generals. Oh, supply wagon. This is the supply wagon. Oh, supply train. It's only one stand so far. I was going to get a few stands and put them all together, and I've just left it as one. It's got a nice little Roman soldier stood guarding it, and some horses with some spare peeler and stuff on them, and some shields. Very handy because for 10 points you can have the option to make all your peeler marksmen, which is always something you look for in a game. Nextly, we have the generals, and right in the middle is Emperor Vespasian himself, although General Vespasian at the time. There he is. He's lovely, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
This figure is from Lancashire Games. You get 2 figures in the general pack from Lancashire. The cavalry is from Lancashire as well. Although the baggage train I think is from Irregular, and all the rest of the figures are from Warlord.
Yep.
So this is a pretty large mix, really. So this is the Emperor Vespasian, General Vespasian at the time. Very successful Roman general, did lots of interesting stuff, look his career up. He fought against the British, he fought all over the place, and then was sacked by Nero for falling asleep during a poetry recital.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which was really Nero's way of saving Vespasian from assassination. It's interesting that as soon as the Jewish colonies revolted, the first person Nero called was Vespasian, because he knew he was the man for the job. Also, he was trying to make it to Vespasian when he committed suicide. So, next is this guy here. This is General Titus, soon to be Emperor Titus. He became emperor after Vespasian, being the son of Vespasian. You can also use a figure for Trajan, because he pretty much looks the same. Trajan was one of Vespasian's generals, and Titus was a damn good commander. He's the guy who took Masada, he's the guy who took Jerusalem. He's the guy who basically brought peace to the Middle East for a while, in a particularly unpleasant way that made sure that nobody would be left to cause trouble again. But that's just the Roman way of doing things. I dare say had he been in Britain, he would have done exactly the same to the Celts. Lastly, we have this guy. This is actually a spare figure left over from the Conquest of Gaul box. I had a few figures left over, and I made a few little vignettes with them. I've got one guy having his head cut off by a Gaul, which is quite fun. And I had this guy left in a spare officer's helmet, so I stuck an officer's helmet on him, gave him a shield and a little sword, and called him a general. So yeah, just gave me an extra general. He's just a nice little chap, painted him up nicely, and there he is. Although he's got the wrong shield for this particular army, but there you go, who cares. So that is a quick overview of the entire Roman army as it stands at the moment. Jobs for the future are to increase the number of Roman troops that I've got. I'm going to get another Roman box set, and I need some more auxiliary. There's a few, I want to get some light infantry stuff, skirmishers. I'm thinking of going for the Greek slingers from Warlord. Or the Cretan slingers, the guys with the red cloaks. They look really cool. I think that's going to be a Christmas bag. But yeah, that's pretty good. Generally for the support infantry, Romans like support infantry. I'm going to use Gauls and stuff like that, and Germans as support troops, because I think that would just be an easier way of doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is the Roman army as it stands. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you like the army. You're going to be seeing a lot more of it, obviously, and you've seen it in action already. And as soon as I get more troops for the army, I will definitely be back on to show you what I've been doing. You got anything to add?
No, I think that's pretty much everything. Run over.
Yeah, no questions?
Apart from the eagle guy. Yeah, I'll talk about the eagle guy.
Oh, the eagle guy. Yeah, he's from Irregular. He's from Irregular Miniatures.
Closer.
Closer?
Closer.
Closer. Closer.
Closer.
Closer.
Now
Closer. He's there. Is he in focus? Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah. This guy's from Irregular Miniatures. It's the eagle on his standard is not the eagle that comes with it. I've actually used the Republican Roman sort of eagle head with a bit of a griffin and 2 wings off Eldar. So There you go. Helmet things. But generally it's an eagle. So there you go. We don't actually use it for anything in particular, do we? We did think of working out some special sort of rule for it, or...
I think it should be 1+1 morale.
Well, I was thinking we could just instill any units around it with a special skill, like, as you said, reroll morale roll or something.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't got around to that yet. We usually just use it for show, to be honest. The eagle was very important to the Romans. Julius Caesar famously threw an eagle onto the beach to force the legion to chase after it, because of course if a legion loses its eagle, the legion is no more. The legion is disbanded. Basically because if a legion has got to the point where it can't defend its own eagle, which should be in the middle of the legion, then the legion probably didn't survive the battle anyway, so they tended to disband that legion. But there was always a legion to take its place. There were always up and coming legions that weren't legions yet, that were always ready to be given a number and sent into battle. So there we have it. That is the Roman army finished.
Yes.
I didn't miss anything else this time, did I?
No.
Right. So that's been the Romans. I hope you liked the video. Please click like, subscribe, leave any comments you like, and what else?
That's everything.
Right, there you go then. Thank you. This has been Vespasian and my trusty sidekick. Good day.
See ya.